Jacob's checking his watch. I can see him. He wants to go home. And yeah, we won't be back on this job for a couple of weeks then, but at least it's got it pushed along a bit. We're just looking for a leak on this heating system. We're getting a big hot spot right down here. So we're thinking, we've been all over the house, we're thinking possibly it might be worth chopping a little hole here and see what we can find, because we're kind of running out of ideas. We've been around with our listening stick and try and hear on the radiators. That radiator does sound quite noisy. So what we're thinking is going to chop a little hole here and just have a look. And hopefully the leak is there. It's not losing a lot of water, it's losing about a bar every 2 days. It's definitely on the heating circuit, but everywhere else we can't see any hot spots. So we think it might be worth chopping there. We're going to have a look anyway. I'll have a word with the customer and we'll have a look. So I've just carefully chopped a little hole with my hammer and chisel. I've not put my SDS on it yet, but the water is peeing out down here. So I think we're in the right place. I'm going to turn the boiler off now, because we've got the heating system really hot and pressurised up. And hopefully we should be able to get a good result for the customer on this one. And hopefully there's no other leaks. So these are our two 15mm heating pipes. I think they feed radiator on the right, radiator on the left. Just trying to establish which way it's leaking. I think we need to be a little bit more over here. It might even be in the corner, but it's definitely looks to be flowing from that way. So I actually tease here through the wall. I don't feel like it's leaking that way because the pipes don't look too bad. I actually caught the pipe a little bit there. Probably ended up cutting that out yet. But the pipes bend around there and then go to the radiator by the looks of it. This bends here. I feel like it might be more that side. But we was getting a big hot spot here. We was actually getting one over there somewhere as well. So probably gonna chop a little bit of the floor up over there and see what we can find. But it's always tricky. You can never get it 100% right. Right, we just pulled a bit more of the carpet back. It's filling back up over here. We think the leak is right here. We were getting another hot spot here on the camera and it feels a little bit wet. So we're going to chop the hole just there. We think the pipes bend, come down here and do that. You should wear gloves because I've just cut my hand open, but everything should be fine. Just get this leak sorted. Well, the insulation's bone dry down here, but it's sapping wet here. We're just hoping it's not through on that other side anywhere, but it's definitely wet. It's definitely getting wet. I mean, this has been laid in sand and it's absolutely soaking. So we think the leak might be down here somewhere. We're not 100% sure, but you can only do your best. So we think we've actually found it first time. We did actually chop a little bit more across, but the water just keeps pulling here. We actually think it's leaking on this soldering fitting here. It said it takes a while for the pressure to drop, but every time we come back to this, the water's just puddling here. We've chopped on the other side of the wall as well, and it's bone dry. It's bone dry over there, and every time the water is just puddling here. You can see if it's forming. So we think it's actually leaking on that soldering fitting right there. So we actually landed straight on top of it, but chopped that up. You didn't know, you only do your best, don't you? But we're just going to dry it. We're going to expose all this a little bit more and see if it is. And then somehow we'll have to probably cut that T out. I don't know yet. I'll have a look at that. But if it is that, we have found it. So I've just knocked the pressure off the heating system. What I'm going to do is cut this top one out because I crushed the pipe a little bit there anyway. And then replace the bottom one first and then put the top one back in, if that makes sense. So hopefully I've got the wet back ready. I'll suck all the water out and just solder these back up. I'm sure it's just leaking on there. I've had all of this exposed. And when the heating gets on, we put the heating back on, it just started to bubble out of it. But when it was off, it wasn't leaking. So I think it is just on there. As I say, the pressure doesn't drop a lot, just enough to cause a problem. We just got this pipe cut out. You can see there's a tiny little pinhole. So we just need to prep all these pipes back up and then solder them all back in hopefully. The other one was fine, that was the top one, but it was the bottom one that was leaking, so that was sat, and the pinhole was about there, that's where the puddle kept coming. Right, I've cleaned the end of my pipes, a little top tip I find with these, I get an elbow and just try and deburr, because I've had to cut a couple of these with a hacksaw, because I couldn't get the slicing, just try and deburr the pipe, it just cleans the end up. So they're all cleaned up, I'm just going to do the bottom one first, and then I'll put the top one in a second. Right, that's the repair we've conducted. It was super tricky because it's all imperial pipework. So the soldering is not the absolute pinnacle of bestness, but water in the pipe as well doesn't make it easy. You're just trying to get enough heat just to get the solder to go. So we're going to fill up. We'll probably leave this a bit, make sure it's all dry, and then we'll come back and do the screens. We got all that filled up and soldered. My solder was perfect. Look, on that bend, another leak. So we had to just cut that bend out and do it there. Hopefully there's no more on the line, because that job was a job from hell. Right, we're just setting this top floor bathroom out. That's the basin unit they've sent, and that's where they want it. It's absolutely huge in my opinion. I mean, there is enough gap to get past, but tell you what, you won't want him much fatter. I think it would be better where Jacob stood. He's a bit camera shy, so I'll not show him. He's hiding. So this toilet will be okay here. I mean, we've pretty much got our first fix right for what we wanted. I said I dropped that, broke my pencil now. So it'd be easy enough for us to connect up where it is, to be honest with you, because we're about bang on. And same with the toilet. I mean, the toilet's got to go there. The saw pipe, if you remember, we brought through, and then the cold feed. So I'll probably get Jacob to do all the toilet and everything, get the system and everything mounted, and then I'll have a word with them whether they want this here or where Jacob stood. I mean, it doesn't really matter, we can alter it, it's just one of them things. Obviously, originally it showed the bath that way, on that back wall, but they could only get 1500 bath in. So they asked us to put the 1700 one there, which we've done. And now we can't get, that basin's a bit tight, but I think it's workable. So what I'm going to do is get Jacob to do this, that's fine. And then we'll have a word with him about that, I think. Oh, we got the right camera set up now, I was on the wrong camera before. This is the new apprentice, he's not camera shy now. We've got a bit of a problem with this pan because we cannot get the door shut. So I'll spin you round. Look at that, look, we're round. It only took us half an hour to figure out how to do that. Yeah, we can't get the door shut, so what they've said is we're going to either spin the door around or get a slightly shorter projection pan. Obviously there's not too much we can do. We can get all the unit and everything, all the system hung, but we can't get it any more that way because it's closing the gap too much on the bath. And what we're going to look to do is get a slightly smaller basin. We've given them the option. So Jacob's going to pipe all the system up, and I'm going to crack on downstairs. Let me spin this around. Look at that, I'm getting good at this. So yeah, Jacob's going to crack on, and we're going to solve the problems. These are the sort of problems you have when, I don't know, we only do it to the drawing. There's all the drawing with everything they wanted. So yeah, Jacob will crack on. I'm just piping this bath up. That's my hot coming out. This will run underneath the bath, up to the blender here, pick up the hot feed for the shower. I'm not going to film any of this because I did it all yesterday on the other video, or on the last video whenever you guys are watching this. But I'm going to prep all this one first, put my blender and everything, and then drop my bath in because it'll just make it easier on this one. So yeah, that's my cold. We're not going to put the ISO valve there. We'll bring it round to the front. The only thing we've got to watch is to keep it out of the way of the trap, if that makes sense. So that's our trap where that goes. That'll go straight onto the waste pipe there, in, job done. So we'll get this one done really fast, and yeah, everything should be okay. If you've not seen this trick before, that you just put a clip on your pipe, it stops it dropping through the floor, because that pipe is quite loose under the floor for some reason. I mean, I didn't put it in. Once we clip it all up, it should be fine, but it's obviously just the way it's coming across, it's probably loose under there, so I'm just worried about that dropping through. So just pop a pipe clip on, it stops it. Good little tip. Well, I've got this bath oil in, same as the other one. It's absolutely rock solid. I've had a little jump in it, not gone mental. So I've just got what I've done is I brought all my pipes to the front on this one. So I've just got to position my blender. We've got service valves where we can get to them. I've just got to position my blender down here somewhere. Waste will go straight in again, job done. But I'm not filming any of that because I've only just filmed on the other one. So I'm going to start fitting these units this afternoon. So we just got toilet unit, which I'll have to cut out for the saw pipe and stuff, and then we've got a basin unit there. So I'll get all them fitted this afternoon hopefully and try and get you some shots if I can. just unboxed the basin, sat it on the unit, look, got a big crack on it. So that'll have to go back. We haven't done it, it's just out the box. But I just wanted to see if the units sat together, which they do. So I just wanted to try the basin on top. But yeah, we'll have to get that basin swapped. One of them days, isn't it? So I've just cut out for this unit from the services. Obviously the system sits in here, so all this is hidden anyway. Hopefully the system misses the waste pipe. It should do. So the pan and everything will go down here. And then I've just got to alter the cold feed because it couldn't probably come in a worse place. It's coming just below the shelf. But it's not too bad. We can just alter it from underneath and then just bring it through and then put the service valve in here. So that's not too bad. So I just need to level this one up, screw this back, and then I've just got my basin units fit here. So hopefully the pipes and everything should be okay for that. If not, we'll just alter and bring them up and then bring them out in the right place, if that makes sense. Yeah, not too bad. Just doing a little bit of joinery. Looking okay. I'm not a joiner, but all this is hidden anyway. As long as it's, you know, to an acceptable standard, it'll be fine. I've got the first unit all levelled in. I'll just drop the level back on. Just to show that it is perfect, which it is. And it is plumb as well. It is plumb that way. So, nothing to this joinery, I'll tell you. What I'm going to do with this is alter this waste pipe so it comes above this shelf. So, it wants to be here, so straight into the trap. What I'm going to do with this blender, I need to have a look under here as well. I'm going to mount my blender over here on this one because obviously you're really going to struggle to get them taps after. You probably even, well, I don't know, it's just not a lot of room. So if I mount the blender here, at least you'll be able to work on it just by taking the bath panel off there. That's what I'm going to do anyway, right or wrong. So, and then obviously you will struggle to get to the taps a little bit, but it's not impossible. At least the blender's the sort of thing you're going to be working on all the time. And you might just be able to change the tap cartridges if you need to get to them, but there's not much I can do. That's how they've drawn it. So I do try and think about the next man, but there's not much you can do when you're working in a little room. So yeah, we're going to get that pipe altered, this unit in, that blender fitted, and then obviously we can't fit the basin because it's come cracked, but we can get that little bit worked up on, and then that should be okay. Just got this bath waste all connected up. I've used 45s and it just connects into the stack. So I've got a really good fall on this all the way through. Trap's all connected underneath. I know I've used black fittings and white pipe. It doesn't really make any difference. It's all going to be behind the panel anyway. So we've got a good fall on that all the way. Set this waste up. Just going to pipe the blender around to the front so you can get to it a little bit easier. And then the next man will have to struggle a little bit with the taps. I mean, you will be able to get down the side, but it's not like you're changing the taps every day anyway. It's mainly going to be the blender. So I'm going to get that done real quick. I've just split my trousers, which is fantastic. They've been ripped a little bit and it's just completely split. You could say the money's burning a hole in my pocket, but yeah, so I'll get this done and then I'm going to start on the boiler then because the sun's come out and I really want to get outside. That's that blender all shifted. We've just moved it here so it's easy to get to. We have still got our shut-off valves which you can get to nice and easily as well. I just thought it would make it easier for the next man to maintain the blender if it wasn't tucked down there, because obviously this unit is coming to here somewhere. So rather than being tucked in the corner, we moved it to the front. So yeah, just makes hopefully life a little bit easier for the next person, because it might well be you or me. I'm just finishing getting these units levelled up and stuff. It's just really a cutting and measuring exercise, getting screwing. So I know this basin's cracked, so I just wanted to see what it sat like on top of the unit. I think you will be able to get to the taps anyway, to be honest with you. They're not too bad to get to. We've done that like that, so hopefully you can get your hands through and underneath. So the blender's nice and easy to get to anyway, and then hopefully if you do need to struggle, you just have to get down that side. Obviously that little bit there will be boxed in and the panel will come down, but we just need to finish leveling these units up. I'm trying to get these, I know I've not got that one screwed in yet, I'm trying to get these lines to line up through, but it's proving difficult because these panels are a little bit, can only do our best I guess. So yeah, I can't even get that back open again with one hand, but yeah, it's just a case of levelling these up, and then can't fit the basin yet, but we can get the system and everything in. We're not going to put the pan in because the floor and everything's going to go down first, so we're going to do the boiler then. Just had Jacob pipe all the kitchen sink up. We've put a double check valve on the dishwasher feed. I always put them on now because I got picked up on a job that I didn't put one on. So every dishwasher or washing machine feed, I now put a double check valve on. So yeah, he's made quite a neat job of that, even if I don't say so myself. So he's just, I don't know if he's got the water on yet. No, it's not switched on yet. We're just going to get some pictures for his college, because obviously he's doing his level 2 straight 3 at the minute. Yeah, but he's made a pretty decent job of that. Right guys, I thought I'd bring you outside. We've got the boiler to set up this afternoon, which goes, let me spin you around, which goes over here. Our oil currently comes up just there, so we need to try and keep our fire valve 1 metre away if we can. It's going to be a little bit difficult on this one. The actual boiler position is going to sit somewhere in this corner. The brick is going to come patch the flue up for us at some point, so we're going to get the boiler position. We might not be able to get it fully in today, because obviously the brickwork needs making good before, but we can take this off, get our hole through, because we have to drill a 4-inch hole with these. I'll go through it all anyway. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Luckily we've got nice sunshine, we've got a nice view as well, so living the absolute dream, to be honest with you. And yeah, it's our last day here for a bit actually. We'll probably not be back for a couple of weeks after today, so we're just going to try and get done what we can. We're not holding any other trades up now, so yeah, but it's a nice view anyway. I enjoy jobs like these. So our first job is to unscrew it off the pallet. It's just a case of all the screws are bent, because that's how they're done. But yeah, we can take them off, all 4. The orange stuff is just where the boiler's been tipped over at some point, and it's like the anti-rust stuff for us to put in. So the condenser is going into there. We might be able to utilise that hole, I don't know yet. It'd be probably neater to drill a new hole through. I know it's going to be a little bit tight with the door, but that's where they wanted the boiler, because all this is going to be like guarded off around this side. It's going to have a big fence put around it, so that's just going to be like a fire escape door. They're not actually going to use that door as access or anything, so it should be fine. Right, we just got this boiler positioned. It's had to go a little bit further forward because we needed clearances for the flue. So our flue comes out this one gets blanked off, but we needed a minimum of 1 metre from the opening of the door. So that's where it's got to go. It means the door can fully open as well. What they're going to do is extend this footpath forward. So it's away from the drain. Not too sure what we're going to do with that oil line yet. We'll have to sort that. That kind of is where it is. But we've obviously got to try and get our fire valve as far away from the boiler as possible. It needs to be a minimum of 1 metre really. So all we've done is levelled the boiler up. And yeah, so that's where the boiler's got to go. So this door opens fully, and then the flue will just have to come out this side, and hopefully it won't cause a nuisance with the door. If it does, then yeah, we'll have to try and get over that after, but hopefully it should be okay. It's all done to manufacturer's instructions that way. There's no other way we can do it. So this is the systems boiler, so the pump's inside. Pump and expansion vessel. We are putting an additional 18 litres of expansion on the system, because I think they're only like a 12 litre, I believe. I can double check the manual if we need to. So I normally put the filter and everything inside the boiler on these, because there is room. Obviously we've got PRV, which we need to drop outside the boiler cage. We can't drop that inside the boiler. And we've got flow and return, so that's basically all the connections. And obviously we've got our burner, and our oil line comes in on the right hand side down there, and then that's just condense trap. So yeah, they're pretty much the same as like gas boiler connections with your flow and return, expansion and stuff, so they're easy enough. We've got pressure gauge on there as well, so you can see the pressure, and obviously that's temperature of the boiler, and that's pretty much all that's inside these. So exactly the same as the internal models. The only thing with the external ones now, they used to mount them at the front, but they just mount them down this side now, the expansion vessels. Well, I think they did. I can't really remember because I forget a lot, but they're down there. So yeah, that's pretty much what's inside a Worcester heat slave. It's not a heat slave, it's a Worcester Systems. So I've just marked on the wall where we're going to be putting our service duct through. So what I do with these is I lag the pipes and then fill this full of insulation, just to prevent any risk of it possibly freezing. There'll be a frost out on it anyway. But I stitch drill this out, or core it out, depending if I can be bothered to set my transformer up, and depending how hard the bricks are. And then what I do is on the inside, I don't go all the way through with the 4-inch. I would just leave it with 1.25 inch waste pipes for my pipes, because it makes it look neater on the inside. You don't end up with a 4-inch hole then. It just looks neater in my opinion. It's probably not quite right, but it does look neater. I'll show you anyway. So that'll go through there, that'll go in that slot, and then we lag them and fill it full of fiberglass. So yeah, hopefully it should be okay. Can you guys see that? So what I do is I drill the 4-inch through the wall into the cavity, so it's sleeved all the way through. And then what I've done, there's a cover that goes over that anyway, so I stitched that out because I find the 4-inch one's just a little bit too big. And then what I've done on the inside is drilled back with 1.25 inches and just sleeve that with waste pipe. So the pipe's all fully sleeved all the way through the wall, but it just looks neater than having a big 4-inch hole coming through on your inside. So all my pipes will come in here, and we just got to connect these in with our existing supplies then. So that's our service duct all brought through. So what, as I say, I lag all my pipes through, and then we fill this, absolutely cram it full of fiberglass, just to stop any drafts or any, potential freezing. We've levelled the boiler up, so now it's just a simple job of piping it up. So all we've got on these is flow return, and then PRV, and then oil line, and obviously condense. So yeah, it's dead easy really, not too bad. The worst bit is just positioning them. Once you've got them sort of in position, they're not too bad. It helps when you've got a nice view to look at, to be honest with you. So I've just put my flow and return through the sleeve in. That's obviously our flow coming off the boiler, so we'll have to put an air tap on there somewhere and just connect that in there. The return, we're going to put the filter in here and then keep it out of the way of the PRV. The PRV will have to drop out one of these knockouts at the bottom. Obviously one will be for the oil line, one will be for the condense, one will be for the PRV, whichever one we choose. So yeah, they're nice and easy to pipe up really, and it's alright when you get a nice day. It's when it's raining and horrible, but we're okay, we're lucky on this one. So that's our flow. That will go a little bit like that so we can get the nut on there yet. We put an air tap at the high point so you can bleed it out of the boiler, and then it drops back down. So we've got these to lag yet. We've just got to work out if it's going to be best to have the filter in here or whether on the other side of the wall, but we'll sort that. We'll get this flow connected in, and then we'll work the returning in a second. In a bit. Jacob's checking his watch, I can see him. He wants to go home. And yeah, we won't be back on this job for a couple of weeks then, but at least it's got it pushed along a bit. We've just worked the return in now. We're going to mount the filter inside. There's an access panel going in there with all the zone valves and stuff, so that the filter will be perfect in there. It's just wasn't working properly out here, just too big really. So the PRV's there, we're going to pipe that down. The flue's going to come out this side, so Jacob's going to solder this all up now. We just need to swap this for a compression, which I haven't actually got on the van, and I need another air tap as well. So he's going to solder everything up bar that, and then when we come back, we'll swap that for a compression. It just makes it a little bit easier if you ever want to disconnect the boiler or anything, I find. So that's how I do them. So yeah, Jacob will have a go at soldering this one, and then we'll just finish the day off doing the condense and bits like that.